Hi guys, I hope you're all well. It's currently Sunday the 8th of November 2020 and welcome to week 252 of my weight loss journey. In last week's video we all saw I had a loss of half a pound or 0.2 kilogram, which meant my body mass index went from 46.4 down to 46.3. I'm going to start the proceedings off by reviewing my calorie consumption for the past week, which we can see in the graph above. The average of this was 2,457 compared to the previous week at 2,522. I've managed to bring it back down within my allowance. However, this week has not been perfect by no means. You can see last Sunday I went over my weekend daily allowance of 2,700 calories by 3,200 calories. Then the following day, on Monday, I just wasn't feeling hungry that much whatsoever. And I think I had just short of 1,000 calories on Monday. And then things started to go back to normal Tuesday through to Friday, where I was having about 2,200 calories typically, which is below my 2,500. And then of course Saturday, the old fateful Saturday, this time I had just over 4,000 calories, but thankfully, obviously it's averaged out to be within my 2,500 average for the week. But if I hadn't have had that Monday where I wasn't feeling hungry, and I obviously therefore didn't hardly eat anything, things would have been very different, I would say, in regards to this stat. But technically it's within where it needs to be, but I'm admitting it's not been the perfect week by no means. My fluid consumption has reduced from last week to 3,513 millilitres, which is just scraping above my target of 3,500 millilitres. So that is good, but it's not as good as it has been, but it's technically on point. Let's look at my activity levels for the past week in the form of my step count. This can be seen in the graph above. The average of this was 6,153 compared to the previous week at 10,526. Well, this is obviously decreased. The main reason for this is due to, I would call it a leg injury, or I've nagged my leg on something, I don't know. But it all started on Thursday the 29th of October when I was doing a walk pretty much as normal, and I felt a bit of a twinge on my left leg, on the front lower, just above my ankle, and it was very persistent. Didn't think nothing of it, and I continued with my walk on Friday as well, kind of making it a little bit worse, to be honest. And then the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I just gave myself that time off, thinking that will help matters. And then I did my walk again on Monday, and it kind of made things worse. And Tuesday I did my walk again, and again, it really didn't help. But I was hobbling Monday and Tuesday, and I think by hobbling as well, I also were using my thigh muscles, particularly in the left leg, the one that's affected, obviously a bit differently, and therefore my thigh muscles in the left leg also then started to ache like crazy. So trying to sit down, bend down, it was quite a challenge, I must admit. And then I was struggling on my left foot to be able to flex it up and down, and my front leg was extremely warm to the touch. You could feel when I was flexing my legs, I put my hand over my shin, and you could feel like fluid in between the muscles, and you could feel the muscles twinging, like an aching twinge when I was flexing my foot. So yeah, and it was extremely warm to the touch. So checking the internet for self-diagnosis, I've come to the conclusion that I got myself a shin splint, which requires rest and the occasional ice on it, keeping your leg elevated, and trying not to do as much activity on that leg as possible. Just give it a chance to heal. And that's what I've been doing. So as you can see, Monday and Tuesday, I did my walking as normal, which technically probably was a mistake because it made my leg worse. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and obviously Saturday and today, I'm hardly doing any walking, and it has actually seemed to ease the things. It's not warm to the touch anymore, and I'm able to flex my foot up and down a lot easier. There is still something there, but compared to where it was, it's night and day. So that's the reasons why activity-wise it's completely reduced down. However, I've still been doing my dumbbell exercises on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday. So there wasn't any excuse for me not doing that. My arms and chest are not being aching from this. But yeah, so that's the reason why my steps have taken a pretty drastic hit downwards this week. It's that time of the week where we all get to see if I've managed to lose any more weight. So here it is, guys, here's my weigh-in. I weigh 159.2 kilograms, which is 351 pounds, or 25 stone 1 pound. This means in the last week I've seen a gain of 1.3 pound or 0.6 kilogram. Now normally I would compare my Slimming World result at this moment in time, but I can't do that. For all of you who obviously live in the UK, you all know England has gone on to a second lockdown countrywide due to the coronavirus. The amount of daily infections is dramatically increased. Obviously, we're doing a lot more testing now compared to the first wave, and the results definitely show that. So we've had no choice but to go on a second lockdown, and therefore being a business, technically, Slimming World is not allowed to hold the group meetings now on a weekly basis. So at least for another month until this second lockdown is lifted. So I'm just going to have to show my Slimming World result as a maintain result from now on going forward until the meetings start back up again. So just like what I did during the first lockdown, I'm going to have to repeat this time round as well. As you all know, I have been trying to lose 2 to 2.5 pounds per week if I'm wanting to achieve my third weight loss target by the end of this year. This week's weight gain has definitely not helped. I think the reason why I've seen this weight gain is last weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I went over 3,000 calories on both days, well over the 2,700 calories that I'm supposed to give myself. And with the fact that I've hardly done any of my walking this week, I've just not burnt off those additional calories that I've consumed over the weekend. So I think that is a major factor in this week's weight gain. I think it's the only factor in this week's weight gain, if I'm being honest. The fact that I've had 4,000 calories yesterday on Saturday, that won't affect this weight gain because obviously I start having my treats after I have my weigh-in. So this 4,000 calories technically could affect next weekend's weigh-in result. Based on this week's weight gain, it sees my body mass index go from 46.3 up to 46.5. And if we look at my third weight loss target, last week it was 73.6% complete, and after the gain it goes down to 71.7% complete. So in the 252 weeks that I've been doing this weight loss journey, I've lost a total of 190.2 pounds, which is 86.3 kilograms, or 13 stone 8.2 pounds. Next week, in particular tomorrow, Monday, I am wanting to try and start walking again, doing my daily activity as normal. I'm hoping the time I give myself to recuperate, especially on my legs, my left leg in particular, will be sufficient enough to allow me to start doing my daily walking Monday through to Friday. I want to make sure I hit that average 10,000 steps by next weekend, so I can at least lose the weight that I've lost this week, plus a little bit more. So, like I say, my leg is certainly feeling a lot better compared to it was just over a week ago and the beginning of this past week. And so, yeah, I'm hopeful I should be able to turn things around on the walking front. And calorie-wise, well, we all know I went a bit overboard last night, yesterday in particular. So today I need to make sure I stick within my 2,700 calories, and obviously within the rest of the week keeping it within 2,500 until next Saturday, of course. So I'm hopeful for a loss at the end of this week, but obviously only time will tell, and if circumstances will allow it to happen. And being in a second lockdown, technically I am allowed to go out to do my daily exercise. That is one of the reasons you are allowed to leave your house for. And so, yeah, let's see what happens. Another week to turn things around. But other than that, guys, that's it. That's the end of this week's video. As always, if you'd like to continue following me along my weight loss journey and hopefully get to see much less of me in the future, by all means subscribe to my channel so you don't get to miss out on any future videos that I post. I wish you all a fantastic week. Stay safe, look after one another, and I'll see you all again next Sunday.